than these. And it seems as if Jesus is taking Simon back to the very beginning, to the first time that he called him there at the same Sea of Galilee where we are, but then some years before. And Jesus doesn't call him Peter, nor Cephas, nor the rock, but Simon, son of Jonah, the way his parents had called him, his friends, his relatives, the old world in which Simon grew up. Simon, do you love me? Jesus seems to start all over again with Simon because something terribly had gone wrong. And Jesus trusted him, broken their friendship in shatters. Was this Simon really the rock he thought him to be? It was a doubt for Jesus. Is this now really the rock on which I have to build my church, and the gates of hell will never prevail? Really? Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me more than these? Dear Jesus, with your permission, do you really want now to continue with this man, this Simon, man of flesh and blood, and maybe too much flesh and blood, not fit for the kingdom of God? Did the gates of hell really not prevail over him? Jesus was disappointed, felt deceived, and he must feel also so many times about us as we are sitting here. Jesus must feel disappointed about our way of life. Are we a rock? Did hell never prevail over us? Can Jesus really count on us? How could Jesus build on this man who in many ways represents the church? Wasn't Simon too human? Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? The Gospel of today, which is taken from the last chapter of John, really at the very end, if you would go a few verses back, you would read that Jesus on that very early morning, we speak about a few days after the resurrection, on that very early morning at the Sea of Galilee, he had prepared a charcoal fire on the shores of the lake. It is early morning, and the sun is about to rise, and the fog is still hanging over the waters. It is chilly, and the only thing you could hear was the splashing of the water as the disciples were pulling up the nets, empty nets. They were tired and frustrated, nothing to eat, a whole night of work for nothing. And probably the disciples could see from afar on the charcoal fire there on the shore, a little fire flickering, reflected by the calm waters of the lake. And the column of smoke was rising from it, mixed with the morning fog at early dawn. When they got closer with the boat, they recognized, it is the Lord, it is Jesus. And Peter jumps into the lake, water till his chest, and tries to wade to the shore, wanting to be the first one to greet the Lord. He rushed and splashed, being wet through. By the time he got to the shore, shivering in the morning chill. There he was, Jesus. Jesus and Peter didn't exchange a word, not knowing really what to say. Peter sat down close to the fire, trying to get warm as he was wiping the water from his body. The mind of Peter wandered off to that darkest moment in his life, about 10 days ago, when he had been warming himself at another charcoal fire. At that time, not at the Sea of Galilee, but at the court of the high priest Cleophas. It was dark and it was cold that night. And also then Peter had been shivering and had tried to move closer to the fire to warm himself as the flickering of the light of the fire lightened his face. And somebody said, "Hey, are you not one of his disciples?" He denied it. "I'm not." And after 3 times a cock crowed. Peter fled the courtyard into the darkness to hide himself in shame and cried bitterly. Wasn't this the same heroic and courageous Peter who had said to Jesus, "Even if all will leave you, I will never leave you, O Lord"? Peter, what has become of you? Shame on you. The human heart is weak and it is easily shaken. And it vacillates between good and evil, between courage and cowardice, between light and dark. And people are desperately clinging to what seems to bring life, to keep alive, to stay alive, the survival of the fittest. And many people